All right, welcome in everyone to this deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we're exploring something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
A listener wants to apply spiritual principles from the Brahma Kumaris to work in it.
Interesting. I can see why.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area. Some
Yeah.
of these principles and how they relate to software development,
Yeah.
it's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, yeah.
The first one I thought was really interesting
Okay.
is this idea of respecting the guest of honor.
Okay.
In the Brahma Kumaris,
Yes.
the father, known as Shiv Brahma,
Right.
is considered like the ultimate guest.
Yes.
The most important guest who deserves the highest respect.
Yes.
But then the source material we're looking at makes this really interesting comparison to how we should treat our work.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Instead of just like
Yeah.
going through the motions at work.
Yeah.
And just,
Right.
trying to get things done
Yeah.
without really paying attention. It's
Right.
about approaching your work
Right.
with the same care and attention that you would give to a VIP.
Yeah.
Like you would
Right.
prepare meticulously for an important guest.
Yeah.
Like you'd clean the house,
Yeah.
you'd cook a really nice meal.
Right.
Put your best foot forward, and that's the same kind of energy and effort
Right.
that you bring to your work when you really want to.
So it's not just about churning out code
Right.
or meeting deadlines.
Right.
There's like a level of reverence to the whole to the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Brahma Kumaris believe that when you respect your work like that, you're aligning yourself with a higher purpose.
Right.
It's almost as if you have Shiv Brahma there as a mentor, guiding you toward growth and fulfillment. Just like, you might have a really seasoned tech lead guiding their team.
Yeah. Okay. So how does that how does that translate practically?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We could roll out the red carpet for every line of code we write.
Well, think about it this way.
Yeah.
Imagine you're tackling a particularly complex coding challenge.
Okay.
Right? Instead of approaching it with frustration or dread, what if you viewed it as an opportunity to hone your skills?
Okay.
To really push your boundaries, to discover an elegant solution that you can share with your team. That's what respecting the guest of honor looks like in action.
Yeah, it's almost like, turning it into a puzzle to solve.
Right.
Rather than like a burden.
Exactly, yeah.
To endure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This next teaching, maintaining high intoxication of purpose, definitely caught my eye.
Yeah.
But before anyone gets the wrong idea, we are not talking about happy hour.
No.
In the server room.
Not quite.
Right?
No.
It's about staying connected to the lie.
Yeah.
Behind the work.
Yes.
The deeper purpose that drives you.
Yeah.
The source material compares it to being so engrossed in a project that you lose track of time. Almost like that.
Yeah, like a flow state.
Flow state, yeah. I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
When you're so deep in the zone.
Yes.
You're just like coding away.
Right.
You forget about everything that's going on.
Forget about the outside world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just like in coding, if you lose sight of the end goal, you can easily get sidetracked.
Yeah, you can get
distracted.
You can start to have doubts.
Yeah.
You can have those inevitable setbacks,
Right.
So the Brahma Kumaris call this unwavering focus, constant remembrance.
Okay.
It's about staying connected to your purpose.
Okay.
Even when things get tough.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
In agile development, if you lose sight of the sprint goal, you can end up with a bunch of tasks that don't actually contribute.
Yeah, exactly.
You've done all the work.
Then it hasn't actually gotten you to where you need to go.
Yeah, so how can someone cultivate this intoxication of purpose?
Visualization can be really powerful. Before diving into a task, take a moment to imagine the positive impact it will have.
Right.
Are you improving user experience? Are you streamlining a process?
Okay.
Are you contributing to a solution that will make someone's life easier?
Yeah. Right.
Let that vision fuel your motivation, keep you focused on the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's almost like creating a mental roadmap before you even start writing the code.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Speaking of challenges,
this
next teaching is overcoming obstacles with faith.
Right.
And when I first read this, I was like, faith in it.
Faith in it.
Yeah, how does that even make sense?
It's more relatable than you might think.
Okay.
It's about having this unwavering faith, a guiding force,
okay,
a sorts of solutions, even when things seem impossible. For the Brahma Kumaris, this is Shiv Baba.
Yeah.
But it could also be a trusted mentor.
Okay.
A supportive team.
Right. But
or even just your own intuition,
yeah,
you know?
it's almost like having faith in your debugging process.
Yeah.
You encounter this really stubborn bug.
Yeah.
You don't just give up.
Right.
You trust your skills.
Exactly.
You trust your knowledge, your ability to find a solution.
Right.
Even if it takes time.
Yeah, you just keep going.
Yeah.
You keep persisting.
So for someone out there who's facing a seemingly impossible coding challenge,
right.
What's the practical takeaway?
Yeah, don't let doubt or fear paralyze you.
Yeah.
Trust your process.
Yeah.
Lean on your support system.
Right.
And remember, every challenge, no matter how daunting, is an opportunity for growth and learning.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating that calm, analytical mindset.
Okay.
Even amidst the storm.
Okay. I'm really starting to see how these spiritual principles can be applied to it.
Yeah.
This next one is effort and soul consciousness.
Okay.
Which sounds pretty deep.
It is deep, but it's also incredibly relevant to the demands of the IT world.
Okay.
It's about the ongoing effort required to detach from our limiting beliefs, connect with our true selves, our soul consciousness.
So it's not just about putting in the hours of work.
Right.
It's also about this inner awareness, this inner work.
Exactly. And the source material makes a really fascinating comparison to mastering a new programming language or a complex IT framework.
Okay.
You can't just become an expert overnight.
Right.
It requires dedication, consistent practice, and a willingness to push beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah. So just like you'd allocate time for, coding practice.
Right.
You'd also want to
You'd also dedicate time.
Dedicate time?
Yeah.
To nurturing?
Yeah, to nurturing.
That soul consciousness. But how does that look practically?
Yeah.
Are we talking about meditating?
Well, not necessarily. It could be something as simple as taking a few conscious breaths before a big presentation, practicing a short meditation during your lunch break.
Right.
Even just bringing more mindful presence to your interactions with colleagues.
Yeah, it's about finding those little moments to reconnect with yourself throughout the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple more teachings to explore before we wrap up part 1.
Yeah, sounds good.
This deep dive.
Let's keep going.
Yeah. All right, welcome back for part 2 of this deep dive. We are exploring Brahma Kumara's principles as applied to IT work.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. I'm really enjoying these connections.
It is interesting how we can take spiritual teachings and apply them to something like it.
Yeah, it's amazing how
it's so different.
The most unexpected pairings can yield the most profound insights. Yeah.
Okay, this teaching has this slogan, in order to give coolness in the shade of happiness, become clean and humble.
Okay.
What does that even mean?
I know it's a bit cryptic, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's actually a really beautiful metaphor for building healthy team dynamics.
Okay.
And, that's so crucial in any IT environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think of clean as transparency in communication.
Okay.
It's about being clear, concise, and honest in your interactions with colleagues, clients, stakeholders.
So no more like burying bad news.
No burying bad news.
In a technical report.
No.
Yeah, okay.
And no hiding behind jargon.
Okay. So it's about open communication.
Exactly.
I guess.
About fostering that trust.
Which is so vital for good collaboration.
Yeah.
What about the humble part?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to have a certain level of confidence, right?
Humility in this context isn't about lacking confidence.
Right.
It's about being approachable, open to feedback. It's recognizing you don't have all the answers.
Right.
And learning from others is essential for growth.
Yeah.
Imagine a team where everyone feels comfortable asking questions.
Right.
Admitting when they need help.
Yeah.
Giving and receiving feedback constructively.
Yeah.
That's the shade of happiness.
Okay.
The slogan is referring to...
So it's almost like that psychological safety net?
Exactly.
But it can be.
Yeah.
High pressure.
It's a very high pressure environment a lot of the time.
Yeah, deadlines demanding clients.
Yeah.
System meltdowns.
Yeah. And when the heat is on like that, how do we maintain that clean and humble approach?
Yeah, that's where the practice of soul consciousness comes in.
Yes, exactly. It's about those mindfulness techniques we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
They can really help cultivating that inner calm, clarity, that allows you to respond to challenges with grace instead of reacting impulsively.
So instead of firing off that frustrated email,
when the server crashes,
you take a breath,
step back, approach the situation
with a level head.
With a level head.
Yeah.
Choose your words and actions consciously.
That could be a game changer.
Yeah.
Not just for the individual, but for the whole team.
For the whole team dynamic. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, next teaching. So sharing knowledge with joy.
Yeah.
This one seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward.
It is all about collaboration, knowledge sharing, mentorship.
But this teaching goes a little bit deeper than that.
Okay.
It's about infusing that sharing with genuine enthusiasm.
Right.
And a desire to uplift others.
Right.
Think about the times when you've had a mentor who was not only knowledgeable, but also really passionate about sharing what they knew.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Makes a huge difference in your learning experience.
But let's be honest. Not everyone in it is a natural-born teacher.
Right. Not everyone.
Some people are.
Yeah, some people are more comfortable behind a keyboard.
Behind the keyboard.
Kind of an audience.
Than presenting.
So how can someone embrace this teaching?
Yeah, how can they
if they're not
share knowledge with joy?
The life of the party.
If they're not the life of the party.
When it comes to knowledge sharing.
Right.
Well, it's not about being the most extroverted person in the room.
Okay.
It's about finding ways to share your knowledge that feel authentic and joyful for you.
Okay.
Yeah. It could be through code reviews, pair programming, writing clear and concise documentation.
Okay.
Even just taking the time to answer a colleague's question.
Yeah.
With patience and enthusiasm.
So it's not about forcing yourself to do something.
Yeah, find what feels.
That doesn't feel natural.
Natural and energizing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
In this deep dive.
Yes.
Are there any other teachings?
Yes. There are a few more that I think would be particularly relevant to the listener's journey.
Oh, right.
Of applying these principles to their IT work.
Okay.
Let's explore those next.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the final part of this deep dive.
All right.
We have explored some pretty profound Brahma Kumara's teachings.
Yeah.
And how they can be applied. To IT work.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has.
Hasn't it?
But how can we take all this
and
actually apply it
that's,
in our day-to-day work lives?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one thing to kind of grasp these concepts intellectually.
Yeah.
But how do we actually make them a living part of our experience?
Right. So how do we do that?
Well, one really powerful practice is to start your day with intention.
Okay.
Kind of like you boot up your computer. You boot up a mindset.
A mental startup routine.
Yeah, a mental startup routine.
I like that.
So what does that look like?
Yeah, what does that look like?
Well, it could involve a brief meditation, reflecting on an inspiring quote, or even just setting a clear intention for how you want to show up that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that teaching about maintaining high intoxication of purpose? This is a great way to connect with that purpose.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah, okay.
And carry it throughout your day.
So instead of just diving right into, the emails, take a few minutes to...
Yeah, take a few moments.
Center yourself.
To center yourself.
Set your intention.
Yeah, set your internal compass.
Yeah, I can see how that would really help.
Yeah.
But what about when things get chaotic?
Right. Yeah, because they inevitably do.
They do.
Right.
Yeah, the system crashes.
Yeah, you miss a deadline.
You have a conflict with a colleague.
Right.
Those moments when it's easy to lose your cool.
Right.
How can we use these teachings to kind of navigate that?
The teaching on overcoming obstacles with faith offers a really powerful antidote to those really stress-inducing situations.
Yeah.
Remember that analogy we discussed about having faith in your debugging process?
Right.
It's about applying that same calm analytical mindset to those challenges that arise in your work and in your interactions.
So when that server goes down and everyone's panicking, you take a step back.
You take a step back, you breathe.
Yeah, you breathe.
Yeah.
And you approach it from that problem-solving mindset.
Problem-solving mindset.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And remembering you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
You can reach out to your team.
Reach out to your team, your mentors.
Your mentors, your support system.
Yeah, your support system.
Yeah.
Sometimes just verbalizing a problem can help you see it from a new perspective.
Right.
And find a solution that you might have missed on your own.
Yeah, sometimes we get so caught up in our own heads.
Right.
We forget
the power of collaboration.
Yeah.
And shared wisdom.
Okay, let's talk about burnout.
Okay.
Burnout's a real thing.
It's a huge issue in the IT world,
12 hours. You have to constantly be learning.
Constant pressure.
New technology.
You just have to stay ahead of the tech curve.
Yeah, how can these teachings...
Yeah, how can we avoid getting sucked into that vortex of exhaustion and disillusionment.
That's where this teaching about effort and soul consciousness becomes really important.
It's about recognizing that our work is not just about churning out code or meeting deadlines. It's an opportunity for growth and self-discovery.
But how do we bring that soul consciousness into the workday?
It's about finding those micro moments throughout the day to reconnect with yourself. You know, it could be taking a few conscious breaths before a meeting, practicing my short meditation during your lunch break, or just bringing a more mindful presence to your interactions with colleagues.
So finding those little pockets.
Pockets of stillness.
A stillness and awareness. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more aspect. Sharing knowledge and uplifting others. We talked about mentorship and collaboration. But how can we approach that from this place of service?
It's a subtle shift
that the Brahma Kumaris talk about.
In mindset, instead of viewing knowledge sharing as a transaction or a way to boost your own ego, you know, approach it as an act of generosity, a way to empower others, contribute to their growth.
But how do you do that in an industry that's so focused on
That's often so focused
individual achievement?
Competition and individual achievement. It starts by recognizing that true fulfillment comes not from hoarding knowledge, but from sharing it freely.
Remember that teaching, sharing knowledge with joy. Let your enthusiasm for your craft.
Let that enthusiasm shine through mentor a junior developer. Volunteer to give a presentation. Document your code clearly. Find ways to share your expertise that feel authentic and joyful for you. The ripple effects of that kind of generosity can be incredibly powerful.
Like planting seeds.
Like planting seeds.
That will then grow.
Of knowledge that will blossom.
Into something big.
Throughout the team and beyond.
We've covered a lot.
We covered a lot of ground.
In this deep dive.
It's
been really fascinating.
It has been. It's been a real pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
To see how these ancient spiritual principles can be applied to the modern world.
The modern world of it.
So what is the one key takeaway?
The one key takeaway.
Would like to leave our listener with.
Remember that your work in it is not just a job. It's an opportunity to express your creativity. To solve problems. To make a positive impact on the world. And by integrating these Brahma Kumaris principles, you can tap into a deeper level of purpose, resilience, and joy.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us
pleasure.
On this deep dive.
Being here.
And we encourage you to keep exploring these ideas.
Keep exploring.
And how they can enrich.
And see how they can enrich
your work.
Your experience in the IT world.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening.